All right.
Okay, good.
Afternoon again, everybody.
Okay, good.
Afternoon again, everybody. I see the numbers are going up, but we do have a time schedule. And this is, as you know, that over the last 7 weeks, we'd have lost employees, but also important, we have been pushing the whole thing of emotional health, mental health in particular. And we've also seen that more men are becoming more open to be able to seek the help that is required in order to manage their fears. And the truth is, we as men tend to absorb a lot of the things because there's a perception as to how we must behave. And as a consequence of that, things build up over time. It takes one little thing that triggers it, and you know what tends to happen, therefore. So we thought that we would have found one of the best psychologists there is, and also from one of the best institutions there is. I don't know how you can get the best of both worlds, but you have it. And so it is very fitting for us to introduce Dr. Leahcim Semaj, and who we know as a quantum transformation psychologist. And also we know it is his very wealthy background. If I'm to go through it now, it's going to take about half an hour. So without any further ado, let me introduce Dr. Semaj, who will take us through what we will now dub as male emotional health. Who said big man don't cry? Doc, over to you.
My pleasure. Almost as a preview to this discussion, there was a mass shooting in the US last night. And I was just looking, so far, a significant number of people have been killed. And one hypothesis is, where this person has military training, that he lost his job recently. And he has had some emotional issues in the past. So they're still looking for him. So the reality is big, folks. So I'm really honored to be here. I use the term emotional health purposefully, not to use the word mental health, because when you say mental, it has extra stigma. But emotion is the broadest construct that enables us to understand what is happening to us. But the real title is the subtitle, Who Said Big Man No Cry? So there's a specific reason why we're doing it this way, to make sure that we get the point across and persons don't misunderstand.
Who said a big man don't cry? You never miss the water till you well run dry. Could you find it in your heart to give me one more blight? I won't abuse the situation. This time I won't lie. I'm a nightly conversation. Also me lullaby. Pressure squeeze orange juice. And me ends well fried. Garments well clean. From me socks to me tie. She's a friend, also a lover. That mean me not be shy. Be express myself straight up to the sky. Who said that big man don't cry? You never miss the water till you well run dry. Me say, who said that big man don't cry?
So the Gargamel asks the question, who said that big man don't cry? But Shaggy puts the question a little more specific.
Not hearing the song.
I wasted the moment of fear. I started to care. I shed a tear. No
Dr. Semaj, I'm not hearing the sound. I'm wondering if it's me alone. If you're playing something, I'm not hearing.
You're alone.
Okay, so whether you're a big man or a bad man, cry? But guess what? This is an iconic picture of the big man himself, Obama. And again, it was talking about a mass shooting, and tears started to run down his eyes. What are tears, folks? Tears are sometimes a solvent needing to dissolve the pain. Tears are also sometimes the lubricant needed to disperse the joy throughout all the cells of your body. So we have tears of pain and tears of joy. So yes, it's part of the reality of the human experience. But guess what? The big man, John 11:35, Jesus wept. Why? He cried because he knew Lazarus was dead. Even before he got there, he knew. But still he cried. He knew Lazarus would be alive again in moments, but still he cried. He knew death here is not forever. He knew eternity and the kingdom better than anyone else would, but yet he cried. Because this world is full of pain and regret. So it's a part of the human condition sometimes. I mean, tears flow, the emotions flow. So we have to learn to deal with them. But guess what? The life is rough on men. And sometimes we don't talk about it. But in this context, that's what I mean by saying life is rough on men. Let me just show you some of the things that you would know already. This was the cover of The Economist magazine, September 28, 1996, with the prediction that the biggest problem the Western world will face, males, young, uneducated, unmarried, unemployed, unemployable. We're there now. It was predicted. So we have a serious work to do. Professor G says, hungry young men without role models or prospects are the most dangerous people in the world. And if you understand what's happening in Jamaica and many other places, who are the persons who have decided to destroy the society? So this is the reality, folks. Aggression and violence is an integral part of what males have to deal with. It's a biosocial product of men to gain status and to protect family. Men mobilize themselves into armies of violent fans, criminal gangs, bands of thugs. So those are part of the things, part of the issues of maleness. Men commit more homicide, on the average 26 times more frequent than women. Again, that is how it is. Men are also the victim of homicides, crimes committed, of serial killers, and also familicide. So again, 90% of the victims of homicides are men. So when people talk about gender-based violence, the ultimate gender-based violence are men. But we just take it for granted, The reality is that in many animal species, including primates, males have a biological role, guardians of the territory, banishing the intruders and protecting the group from predators. So these functions are required for male to exhibit a higher level of aggression. So we have to find a way, how do we transpose it? How do we socialize it? Well, we use the educational and the socialization process to create a pro-social outcome, continuous education, job creation, employment, family focus, active fathering. Because if we don't do this, the other outcome, parasites, predators, violent producers. So there's a world surrounding men which is actively violent. But then men also become the victim. And how do men cope? I'd like to start with the conspiracy against men. Just think about it. One egg is released for a month by a woman, and this egg unites with one of the millions of sperm. So she produces one egg, so that's the one chance she has to replicate herself. But men begin by producing millions of sperms the same month. Only the fittest of the fittest survive. So just from day one, that one egg is now competing with millions of male sperm to get into the next generation. So it starts there. Between conception and birth, think about that time, conception to birth, what we call reproductive waste is largely male, meaning that most miscarriages are male. Most ectopic pregnancies are male. This struggle continues all the way through to death. We have to understand this. Now, this was one that my lawyer brought to my attention. Did you all know this, gentlemen? If a wife and a husband die at one and the same time, as in the case of a double murder or a car accident, for the purpose of distribution of jointly owned property, the law presumes that the man died first. So it's the woman's estate will be the sole and relevant context for receiving everything. Think about that. Check with your attorney if you're not sure. Our entire educational system is balanced against men. There are more high school places for girls than for boys. Therefore, more girls will actually pass than men. Designed that way. Boys are often at the back of the class because the students at the front, usually they get more attention. And typically female teachers. A couple months ago, I was actually doing a presentation at this company, and this man said to me, Dr. Semaj, I'm tired of anti-government, you know. So what do you mean by that? He said, throughout my school, every teacher was a woman. I grew up with my mother and my grandmother. And from I've been working, every manager I work for is a woman. Why? Man can't have any kind of authority. Huh? Well, we have 7 high schools in Jamaica for boys, but 14 for girls. Did you realize that, folks? The average boy high school is actually smaller than the average girl high school. The co-ed schools are predominantly female, sometimes up to 60%. So therefore, more Jamaican girls will get into high school than boys. That's been going on from the very beginning. So the cards are stacked. Here's the other big stack now. What they will call it common entrance or GSAT or PEP. This exam takes place at somewhere 11 plus. At this stage of life, girls are psychologically more developed than boys. If it were a straight competition for high school place, the girls have a big unfair advantage. Now, the data shows that boys, by the time they reach their mid to late teens, they start to catch up intellectually. But it starts off like this. Did you know that for every 100 girls who are suspended from school, 250 boys are? Every 100 girls expelled, 335 boys are. Every 100 girls in special ed, 217 boys are. Every 100 girls with learning disability, 276 boys are. Every 100 boys who are emotionally disturbed by the diagnosis, 324 boys are. How about the big one, attention deficit disorder? For every 100 girls, 400 boys are. We have problems from day one. So we can see now by primary and secondary school, girls are outperforming boys, and this is a worldwide phenomenon. Boys are more likely to be held back and to drop out, while girls tend to stay longer in school. Females have vaulted the university gap. Between 70 and 80, sometimes up to 90% of the university students are female. Check UE, you'll see what the numbers look like. These are the 4 valedictorians this year from UWI. You see, there's one boy. And I wouldn't be surprised, they're squeezing in, because it would look away. So the odds are against us. And folks, our educational policy after slavery designed this into the system. So if you notice that areas where sugar was dominant, like Trelawney and St. Thomas and Clarendon, and areas where banana was dominant, like St. Mary, no high school admitted boys until relatively recently. And look at the number of high schools we have in those parishes. Why? If too many boys went to high school, who would cut the cane and who would weed the banana? So you understand how the system was set up. The Roman Catholic Church have 1 boy high school, but they have done 5 high schools for girls. None of the single-sex schools were established by government. Remember that. It was the church. That's why some of us have enough respect for Bishop Gibson for what he set out to do. Why he wanted a school that would help boys who are from the lower end, boys who otherwise would not get in. Boys and girls of the same age put in the same class, the girls are nearly always better than the boys. So there's a potential psychological impact on boys, especially in their. So I firmly believe in single-sex education to give boys a chance to develop. But we can talk about that separately. So that each gender can proceed at their optimal rate. Now, folks, when you start talking about issues that impact the lives of people, let me show you the figures. Men smoke more lung cancer causing cigarette. Men drink more liquor, more cirrhosis of the liver. Men take more drugs, impacting their lives. Anything that kills people, except for one, kills more men than women. Of the 15 leading causes of death, the only area that men do not dominate is death in childbirth. But if man could have child, we would beat them too. Men eat more unhealthy food. Again, cardiovascular diseases. Men expose themselves to more disabling hazards on the job. Do you realize that 94% of all on-the-job fatality are men? 94% of all on the job. Men drive faster, drive more reckless, kill more themselves and kill more people on the road. Men possess more firearms and more deadly weapons, take them their own lives and also the lives of others. Men have more stress and tension, building their competitive personalities. But we don't talk about these things. Women complain about the shortage of marriageable men. And they're right. Because more men at the bottom of the economic ladder than women. And more men involved in crime, so therefore locked up in prison. This is a picture taken at the annual meeting of single, straight, emotionally stable, financially secure, intelligent men looking for long-term commitment. Look sparse. Developmental stages, folks. Teenagers have girlfriend. Contraception failure result in baby mother. Big man make commitment and have wife. So that itself is a developmental issue that a lot of men don't get past the baby mother stage to the point of having a wife and making a commitment, which adds seriously to life chances. The single most important economic and mental health decision a man will ever make is the person they marry. Please let that one sink in, gentlemen. Your single most important economic and mental health decision you'll ever make, the person you marry. All the data supports this. You may want a partner who is eye candy, but guess what? You need a partner who is soul food. Our own survival depends on this. So the whole issue of mental health, the antecedents are not good in terms of where men are. A lot of things, we come into the world, we are socialized, we develop with a lot of potential problems. Mental health is not a sign of weakness. It's not something negative. It's an important part of who we are and what we do. It affects everything we do. So that we must be concerned about how it rolls. We saw the impact in coronavirus, how it actually triggered even more mental health issues. And by the way, the data suggested that post-COVID, the next pandemic will be a mental health pandemic and will be largely impacting men. There are a lot of areas where gender differs in mental health. 1 in 5 men will develop alcohol dependency. 2 times as many men are diagnosed with attention deficit disorder during childhood. 4 times as many men die from suicide compared to women. Let me explain that one. Women attempt suicide more often, but men are more successful. Suicide is a call for help. Women typically slit a wrist or take some tablets, but then they call everybody in their contact list. And chances are somebody find them. Men tend to put a rope around their neck or a gun to their head. Boom, bang, done. 4 times as many men more likely than girls to be diagnosed with autism. So that the factors are there. Believe it or not, men need help too. And a lot of times we don't want to admit it. We don't wish to. Men have panic attack. Men have trauma. Men cry. Men feel emotional. Men self-harm. Men have eating disorder. Men are abused. Men are insecure. Men have body image issue. Men deserve love and care. Men deserve support. So we have to demand it. There's some differences in the gender. Depression, eating disorder, suicide attempt. Higher prevalence in terms of women. Death by suicide. Substance abuse, men. High risk behavior, men. So that we see these issues. The 5 major mental health problems affecting men. Number 1, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, psychosis and schizophrenia, eating disorders, dominantly impacting men. Men are less likely, however, than women to seek help for depression, for substance abuse, whatever. The social norms, reluctant to talk, downplaying the symptoms. The highest suicide rate in the US are found in Caucasian men over 85. Can you imagine? Among the elderly. More than 4 times as many men as women die by suicide. So we're seeing some serious problem. Low levels of testosterone correlated with depression, stress, mood swing, especially among older men. But these things are not being diagnosed because men's health-seeking behavior is so low. Gentlemen, you understand why breast cancer has so much a higher possibility in women of survival compared to prostate cancer? Because women are involved in self-examination and their health-seeking behavior is current and regular. But lots of men, by the time a man is diagnosed, it's too late. One suggestion, men, I recommend a regular PSA test and the annual digital rectal exam to check your prostate. No, I don't want to. No. One suggestion, if it's a male doctor checking your prostate, just make sure both his hands are not on your shoulder. If both his hands are on your shoulder, then you have a little problem. But other than that, I recommend it. Only 1 in 4 men feel able to talk to their friends and family when they're feeling stressed. 1 in 4. How are you doing? There's something that men struggle with: loneliness, self-doubt, lack of direction, lack of respect, sexual temptation. But who do you talk to? Who do you reach out to? The main warning signs: excessive paranoia, worrying, anxiety, long-lasting sadness, extreme changes in mood, social withdrawal, dramatic change in eating behavior or sleeping pattern. You see these things in yourself? Seek help. You see a brethren manifesting these? Talk to him. Help him. Many men resist talking about their mental health because of a number of factors. Financial, personal reasons, practical issues. Who's going to listen? Not many competent and helpful people are able to empathically listen to men with mental health issues. I tell managers in company, if a man knock on your door and say, boss, I can talk to you about something, stop what you're doing and talk to him. It took him weeks, if not months, to get that strength and that confidence to come ask you. And especially, you're his boss or his supervisor. Sometimes you're the most intelligent person he knows. And I think he can trust. A divorced middle-aged gentleman, he phoned his only sibling, his brother, during a mental health crisis, but was asked to call back in a few hours because the sibling was watching a movie. When he called back, he got voicemail. So again, a brethren called and said, boss, I want to talk to you about something. You don't know what it is. A father was struggling with mental health issues and it affected his work. And when he tried to discuss the issue with his wife, she scolded him. Well, are you a husband? Are you a man? You went man up and deal with it. So it's done right there, so. A male student noted that he tried to talk about his mental health issues with various peers, but found that they quickly zoned out and reached for their cell phone. People start calling him a whiner, and he started losing his friends. Research indicates that men with mental health issues have tried to reach out and talk about their problems, but have commonly found an unresponsive or indifferent audience. Instead of talking to people in their social network, men with mental health issues also have the option to seek out and consult trained therapists. However, many unacknowledged and oft ignored barriers. One of the things that I recommend, folks, we should really see barbers and bartenders as part of the mental health establishment. And we start training them to be able to give good advice, because that's the first line that most men, when they sit before a bartender, and start, why, reason out and share, when they sit in that barber chair. So we need to do it. Men still remain the primary breadwinner in most families. Their income is essential. This means that they tend to work longer hours, constantly striving to impress their employers. Many men are averse to taking time off for health reasons. A lot of men, even would have health cards, they don't use it. One big company I was working for, I insisted that if you want to save your men's life, make sure that on the anniversary of their appointment, they must get a full medical checkup. Because they have the health card. But chances are they don't use it. If the employer wishes to take time off to see a mental health professional, yes, we need to make sure. So even we're having discussions like these, many men with mental health issues, they get stereotyped. They call them dangerous, unpredictable, a threat to the workplace. So a lot of these people just climb up and don't say nothing. A recent survey found that 1 in 4 workers believe that their job would be a problem if they discuss their mental health issue at work. 1 in 3 believe that they'll be overlooked for promotion if they mention the mental health issues that they're struggling with. So these things act as a deterrent for men to really open up and to seek help. Some men in mental distress may have legitimate fears that the disclosure of it could damage their employment and their status and their future opportunities. So with all of this, for many men, any disclosure will be deemed to bring more cost than benefits. So they don't say nothing. Silence. These processes have been overlooked in much of the public discussion about men's health. So there are issues that create more stresses and problems in men, but at the same time prevent men from seeking help and getting help. The result of this, some men are fortunate to have supportive family and friends and employers. But the sad reality is that many men face indifferent, negative repercussion if they talk about what's bothering them. I remember one day, many years ago, I was doing some work with some senior police officers, and many of them were boasting how they've been on the force for 10 years and 20 years and 30 years and never took a sick day, never took a day off. But I've had policemen who confided in me and said, Dr. Semaj, you see, from the first time I had a fatal shooting, and it wasn't handled properly. I never had a chance to reason it out. And my way of coping with stressors now, whenever I go into a stressful, challenging situation, once I get into a stressing situation and I feel any threat, the first thing is fire my gun. I find that once I fire the gun, as the first shot I hear is me fired, it stabilizes me. That is dangerous. It is wrong to blame or target men for their alleged silence or reticence to discuss these issues. Why? Because of all of what we have just presented. We need to find a way to make it more accessible and available that men can have these kind of conversations. So I was really honored to be asked to open the batting with something like this. Hopefully, this is not a one-off situation. Hopefully, we'll now see an EAP program where a man can just confidentially, you talk to HR, you talk to training, and they just give you a number and you can call somebody. Now, solution. What do we do? How do we cope? I like to remind men and people in general, you are the programmer. Your brain is the hardware. Your mind is the software. Your life is the printout. So you have work to do. You can take that responsibility, take it on. The trillions of cells in your body are constantly eavesdropping on your thoughts and your emotion, constantly. So all the self-doubt, all the stresses that you're going through, it is being programmed into your body. Learn from your computer. When the computer slows down, we don't just keep pressing the mouse, pressing the keyboard. Sometimes you have to turn it off for a minute. You know the olden days with cell phone, sometimes you need a battery pull. A battery pull to make things settle down and just start over. Gentlemen, sometimes we need a battery pull. Mental health concerns for men, anxiety, depression, yeah, real, but hard to talk about, especially with healthcare providers. Men and women differ. It's important to know that depression and anxiety sometimes manifest themselves differently between men and women. Depression in men sometimes shows up as irritability, anger, becoming more reserved, talking less. Look at the extreme. Talking loud and talking more, or not saying nothing. Avoiding social activities. Hobbies they once enjoyed. Eating habit change completely. All right? So we know these things. So we're saying that if you see any of these things in yourself, it can be a sign that. Better yet, if you see them in your friends and associates, talk to them one away. By paying a little more attention to what's going on in your brain, you can take more control of your mental health. All right, I have 12 specific things to suggest. 1, get open. Stop telling men to man up. Instead, tell them to open up. We're wired as men to put on a strong face and to carry on. We need to start talking more openly about our feelings. And when we open up, we need to do so without apology. We can often do so closed-minded and stubborn that we bottle up our emotion and leave them inside. Keeping our emotions inside is part of what's killing us. Open up to your friends and loved ones. And when somebody opens up to your brethren, listen to them without this aspersion.
You're hungry now? How can I make you get a plate of food country style?
Omar, mute Omar.
Get control. We beat ourselves up many times about what we have done in the past. We worry about the things that might happen. These are things we have no control over. Worry about the things you can control. Your diet, your routine, your schedule. Set boundaries. This will help keep your life in control instead of always feeling under pressure. Control the things that you can't control, the people around you, but you can control the people that you put yourself around. Choose them carefully. Get thankful. The other word is gratitude. When was the last time you took an inventory of the small wins in your life? Regardless of what you may be going through at any specific moment, chances are some good things happening to you. Count them, measure them. Celebrate and embrace the wins, the little things that are going well. Build on them. Build on them. Talk about your feelings. Many men are taught not to express their feelings, especially feelings of sadness or feelings of anger. Sadness and anger are legitimate emotions, but violence is a destructive behavior. We can diffuse these things. It's important to talk about your feelings with a supportive family member, a friend, or a healthcare professional. It begins there. Eat well. Healthy, balanced diet can significantly improve your mental health. Significantly. If you don't take care of your body, where are you going to live? The quality of your energy, your mood, your health is determined by the quality of nutrition. The basic rule, eat until you're 80% full. This Jamaican thing about better belly bust than good little waist, nonsense. 80% full is enough. Stay hydrated. Prioritize protein. We need protein to build the body, to build muscles. Eat real food, avoid processed food. And you can't pronounce, don't eat it. Anything that ends in OEO, don't eat it. Use supplements on top of the healthy diet, not in spite of, because you want to make sure. I recommend, do not let the few cell buds of your taste buds, the few cells of your taste buds, hold the 30 trillion cells of your body to ransom. Why, it's nice, but I like how it tastes. No. Don't let the taste buds hold you hostage. Some things you have to eat it whether you like it or not. Get better sleep. Sleep is critical. One of my most important things, I have a watch that it measures all my critical functions. And it pairs it with my phone. And every night, I make sure I wear the watch when I'm going to bed. And in the morning, I take a look to see how was my sleep. It breaks down the sleep so I can see that what I need to do differently. Sleep, critical, gentlemen. Connect with friends. You need social connections that uplift you. Social connections decrease the chance of mental health problems such as depression. Identify those people who can make your life better and stronger. You can share your problems with. There's a whole math of that, If you share your problems and pain, it reduces it. If you share your joys and success, it multiplies it. Sharing works. Find an outlet. Do you have a hobby? What are the things that you enjoy that help you to reduce stress and improve your mental health? If you don't have one, find one. Make one. Playing music, listening to music, painting, hiking. At a certain point, you have to give the football, but there's some of us, for me, boy, just walking is most critical. Gentlemen, take control of your finances. Dealing with financial stress is a critical issue. Budgeting. Seek financial advice. The most common thing, we tend to design a lifestyle that is way beyond our income, our earning. Do something about it. Seek help. If you feel that water more than flour, seek help. You need to seek help. It is not a sign of weakness to seek help.
See your brother standing by the road with a heavy load on the low street go. If you see your sister walking by the way, just stop and say, you're going the wrong way. You got to show little kindness, show little kindness, shine your light for everyone to see.
Be smart enough to know when you need help, but be brave enough to ask for it. Ask for help. Reach out and support each other. Talk, again, it's about the fifth time I've said, talk to family and friends whenever possible about your fears and worries. Talk about what you're feeling and what you're thinking. Be kind to yourself. Notice your thoughts without judging them. Focus on the things that you're in control of. Try to notice and celebrate the successes that you have in life, however small it is. Number 11. Yes, they say that alcohol is a solution. We learned that from chemistry class, right, Rick? But it has a problem. Substance misuse or excessive caffeine or excessive alcohol should be avoided. Don't get sucked into substance abuse. The temptation to self-medicate with alcohol can be very powerful and the consequences are destructive. Again, if you see your brethren really trying to, really dip into the soup on a more regular basis, maybe you can help. Help is available. If you're struggling, ask for help. At the same time, be willing to help each other. It is in giving that we receive. Winston Churchill said, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. How are we doing with each other? The nature of the universe is to give. When we are in harmony with the laws of the universe, we cannot stop ourselves from giving. We're here to save and to serve each other. Iron sharpeneth iron. We have to look out for each other. Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as we have done unto one of the least of these, my brethren, you have done so unto me. Help each other. Help each other. Number 12, I'll leave this for last because this is very, very critical. Exercise is a great way to boost your mood and reduce stress. It's even 10 to 20 minutes a day, but I want to give you some more information on this because this is so critical. Exercise is the most powerful longevity drug. Exercise has the greatest power to determine how and for how long you're going to live for the rest of your life. Do you all have an exercise program? Exercise is the only way to keep your heart and lung healthy. No drug can do that. Exercise is therapy. It's a personal re-engagement where the mind and the body talk to one another. Now, you've been exercising and your body says it can't be done, the mind says, yeah, man, we can do it. The mind and the body talk to each other. Exercise elevates mood, energy level, concentration, and overall feeling of well-being. Training is not optional. It takes much less time to lose muscle mass and strength than to gain it. After age 30, we lose muscle mass at 3 to 8% per decade. Once you reach 60, boom, it escalates. Do you understand that falls are by far the leading cause of accidental death for people 65 and over? You don't just fall and drop dead, you know. 1/3 of the people over 65 who fracture a femur or a hip by falling are dead within a year because the body never fully recuperates. The more muscle mass you have, the less likely you will fall and the better quality of life. I can't overemphasize this. Muscle is the largest and the most overlooked organ in the body. Muscles know no age. People of all age can have strong, fit bodies. Prepares you for your latter part of life. This is a critical part of my new book, The Best Is Yet to Come, talks about, how to strive and do well in retirement, but you start by preparing early. It used to be assumed that muscle loss was inevitably associated with aging, but that's not true. Scientific studies have shown that muscle loss can be prevented and even reversed through regular exercise. Now, I lift weights 3 times per week. And there's a good reason, because that's how I overcome all of these things. As the years pass, muscle mass shrink, strength and power decline. Sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle mass loss, begins by age 35. Just think about it. By age 40, many of you start wearing glasses. And you do something to correct it. Why aren't we doing something to correct the loss of muscle? On average, adults who don't do regular strength training can expect to lose 4 to 6 pounds of muscle per decade. You don't see the change in the scale because what happens? The muscle is replaced by fat. The fast twitch fibers, which provide bursts of power, are lost at a greater rate than the slow twitch fiber. So listen, for your own survival, gentlemen, it's critical.
Yes. Yes, sir.
This is how my day rolls.
Solid. 5 that dot. And again, 6 that dot. 7 strong. Crazy 8. Yeah. Aye.
Yes. Gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
I am training for the Centenarian Olympics. What's the Centenarian Olympics? How would you like to live when you're in the last decade of your life? The marginal decade. The gold standard. 45 minutes, 4 days per week, zone 2 training. Activities, you're barely able to hold a conversation. VO max, 1 day per week. Strength training, 3 times per week. Your retirement saving to reach old age with a reserve of muscle to protect you from injury and to engage in all the activities you love. This is my centenarian, the captain I'm training for. You start by identifying what are the 10 most important things in your life that you want to do for the rest of your life and train for it. My 10, off-road hiking, 3 hours at least. Carry and lift groceries. When I go supermarket, carry the groceries and lift my luggage into the overhead compartment, 30 pounds. Change a car tire. Play 18 holes of golf, walk in the course. Gym workout with my sons. One is 40 and one is 27. They can't keep up with me in the gym, and I don't want to lose that position. Maintain my personal hygiene. Use public transport, everything. Being able to perform self-care. And number 10, to engage in satisfying sexual activity for the rest of my life. I train for these things now, gentlemen. My centenarian workup, I mentioned the 3 5Ks a week, but this is what I do on my days that I bench press. You must be comfortably bench press 3/4 of your body weight. Deadlift your body weight. Double your body weight, you can do that. Farmer's carry, planking, push-ups, chair stand up, 45 pounds in your hand, stand up and sit back down. That's how I prepare for building to change a tire. Dead hang, free squat. So we can do these things without
devotion. See, I'm a true player, we don't show emotion. Now is this the moment of fear? I started to care, I'm shedding a tear. No way.
We don't need to cry. We don't need to, gentlemen.
Oh, said a big man don't cry. You never miss the water till you well run dry. Could you find it in your heart to give me one more blight? I won't abuse the situation. This time I won't lie. I'm a nightly conversation. Also me lullaby. Precious squeeze orange juice. And me ends well fried. Garments well clean. From me socks to me tie. She's a friend, also a lover. That mean me not for shy. We express myself straight up to the sky. You.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, gentlemen, it can be done. It can be done. I want to open up the floor. Conversation, questions, comments. Let's talk. So we have a few minutes.
Doc, you didn't tell us how old you are when we saw those videos with the exercise. You didn't introduce your age.
Oh, haha. No, well, one video was taken, goes back a little because the big red machine, that's Spartan. So that when Spartan closed about 3 years ago, but I am now 72. So all of those, I mean, one of them goes back about 2 years. Two of them were done within the last couple of months. So, but that's how I roll. I mean, and Rick, may you've been on this thread for a while in terms of the 5K business and so on. You know, I've been talking about the muscle part of it for a long time too.
Of course. I just wanted the audience to know how old you were because.
And gentlemen, I don't believe in old age. I don't, because everything with old age is a negative connotation. We know that with them. You have the option to sage, not just age. I still leave the exercise for last because that's something we have control over, we have responsibility for. And it's your best drug for longevity and for a healthy life. Endorse it fully. Live it.
Yeah.
Doc, for to steal my brother.
Mind them ban you from the platform, you know.
Right, is that what you probably them have to ban plenty of people. Just a quick one. So the exercise is important, and I'm glad you mentioned the health part of it first, because if you run along with exercise without taking care of health, it could have devastating impact in terms of persons who have keeled over during exercise and so on. So I'm really happy that you introduced both sides in terms of getting the health well and the exercise.
But, no, let me add a piece of that then, because we don't want about just run, go out now, but try. So, but Dr. Semaj, I push 14 plate. We must can do that too. It's almost recommended before you start the exercise program, see your healthcare provider, because you may have some underlying conditions that need to be dealt with.
Indeed.
So deal with that, but then you have to fuel the body. So you have to eat right. You know, yes. Them kind of them dry bun and bulla business and so on. No. If you don't take care of your body, where you going to live?
Well said.
Any other questions, gentlemen? Any concerns? As I tell you, I really enjoy doing this kind of discourse, because we don't talk to man and man don't talk enough, because about enough man tell too much lie, you know. I tell you what, gentlemen, when you start to say, I used to one time, I used to, and I could have. A man is what he is, not what he used to do. A man
One
is what he
one of the
is.
things I like about your 12 things that you point out, Doc, none of them never put us reliant on a woman.
Absolutely.
There was a strong insulation between all of these activities and being independent from a woman, right? And I think that is also important too, because I think that just like what this environment creates, I think if we need help, the type of help that we get from a woman cannot be the same. And I'm not diminishing women in any way, but I'm just not sure the help will be the same.
No, it's a different rule. I remember a situation, my youngest son, when he was about 3 or 4, maybe 4, huh? We were somewhere and he was doing something and he fell down. And I said, all right, jump up, soldier. Come on, knock it off. We can deal with it. You know what he said to me? Dad, I'm happy that you are the one here when you're not my mom. Because mom would start to hug me up and kiss me and make me feel embarrassed. Because man and man treat it differently, because I acknowledge, don't give in to the problem, the pain, my brother. Jump up. And I find the same situation with my wife. Listen, if there's any little injury, anything, the way she wants to deal with it, yes, I mean, that's her nurturing component, huh? But she make it feel worse. And sometimes you never say anything to her because she's going, all right, you can't stay home in bed because you need to rest, you need to, right? But man and man can be more balanced and so on and things. But the data does show that a man who is married to a good woman in a good relationship has a longer life expectancy than a single man who try to run road. Because it's a very important thing. But you do it for you. Maintain your own physical and mental and spiritual capability, gentlemen.
Yeah.
And ask for help if you need it. Ask for help. Don't be embarrassed to ask for help.
Barnett, you're muted.
Well, Doc, when you gave us that background, you said, I kind of wondering when would be the best time to start when you look at putting that perspective of how things really stacked against us and our responsibilities and how we behind the 8 ball from jump. Where do you start to train men then? You know, to make for the first the awareness that you're already predisposed, you're disadvantaged, you have to take a different course. I don't know, maybe I'm looking all the way back from childhood coming right up, and where do you intervene and prescribe these things, you know? Where's the best place?
Well, I think we start where we are. So, gentlemen, if you have sons, you need to work with your sons because they are going through it too. I remember again, my youngest son, when he was at, let me not call the name of the school to protect the guilty. He said, Daddy, the only person who can work is the only man who can work in a school is a sports master and the guardian. Because to that point, the 3 schools he had been to, there were no male teachers. The only male was the sports master, the sports person, and the security guard. So that started to set, but he asked the question. Another time he came to me and he said that, Daddy, whenever any boys ask any question in the class, no matter how they raise their hand, the teacher don't call on them. She always call on the girls. She always call on the girls. So I went into the school to raise the questions and to bring to their attention, right? So that we start with our own children. We start with the boys in our sphere of influence, and anything we can do to impact the situation, we do so. I see that George Morris, can you unmute? And
yes, Doc. Let me first of all just say a very big thank you for an excellent, I mean, I took so much notes. There's so much for me to add and to pass on as well and to share. But one thing I was just thinking though, maybe it's an idea, along with what Ricardo mentioned, is if like in the curriculum, because the boys in Jamaica are so marginalized and many of them, unfortunately, maybe like a single mother that really grow them. So
yes,
if inside their curriculum, whether in high school or primary school, no, if a course or a session that said wellness in boys, no, so they can learn how to be open, to be vulnerable, and that kind of thing, it would help both with their mental health, but also with society as a whole, you know, because most of the crimes as the victims are men, but also most of the, yes. So
you know what?
just an idea, yeah.
Sure. But one thing, when any school called me and said, we have a man's day, we have a boys' day, could you come? My first answer is yes. So however you can make it happen, you can help, because oftentimes many of those boys do not have any positive male influence in there. And that's what I'm saying. The best immunization against a boy joining a gang is active fathering. Active fathering. Christopher Shaw.
Hi, good afternoon, Doc. Good presentation. I have a question for you. Jamaica has a high crime rate, right? I want to know, in your view, what are some of the psychological factors that are causing our men to be violence producers?
Two things. My observation is that home is the first school. Parents are the first teachers. Everything after that is extra lesson. Now, we have a serious home problem. A lot of men have abdicated their role and responsibility in the home. Listen, folks, male energy. If male energy is not transmuted from when it begins to form itself, it becomes destructive. If female energy is not transmuted, it becomes reproductive. So sex and violence are the two sides of the same coin. No, the ultimate card, a mother can draw up on a boy, It's a point in them face, wait till your father come home. No, if a mother can't draw that card, guess what? The natural development of a boy, you get to a point where you resist your mother. If you don't resist your mother, you're going to become your mother. But here's the problem. What if your mother is the only person that talking sense in your life? And you're going to resist your mother? A lot of the boys, the data is showing us that a significant portion of the boys who end up using violence to solve issues and so on and crime are in a household where there's no male figure who can boss. No, you're not doing. I remember my eldest son, when he started, it was, doing some things that were not the most constructive at school. By the way, I've never hit any of my children. I don't believe in that at all, because there's so many constructive we can do. I just said to him, Mandela, please inform the coach as of tomorrow that you're no longer on the basketball team. But no, Dad, I'm on the team. I have a game tomorrow. No. You didn't understand me. Inform the coach that your father says you're no longer on the team. But you didn't understand what I just said. Until your behavior change, you are no longer on the team. Show me that you deserve to be on the team. So that a lot of the boys who become bad man never had any structure. When they start to smell them underarm and things says cologne and the testosterone start to kick in and they think so, well, then is juice. And so we gentlemen have a responsibility. Active fathering. Active fathering. So that I'm not blaming government for that, because government says, no, we will give you free education. They can say anything they want. But we as men, active fathering is the most powerful thing, the most powerful antidote against boys becoming violence producers. Because the first time them try it and them do it verbally or so, and then the father said, no, not in my cabinet. So it starts in our home, it starts in our community, it also in our workplace. The senior gentleman, when a young man comes in, mentoring, help him. You realize how many you're a manager, you're a supervisor. You realize how many young men coming into your organization is the first member of their family to finish high school, first to finish college, you are ahead in the game. So you'll be there to help the nurturing and the mentoring and so on. Because if we don't do that, by the way, gang leaders are constantly open for mentoring, you know. They're constantly reaching out for new recruits. Yeah, man, come on, we'll deal with you. We'll help you, man. We'll help you. So we have to compete now and give other options.
Okay, thanks.
That's not to overstay my welcome. I'm really happy that we had this session, you know, and I really want to encourage those of you who are decision makers to really encourage that something happens beyond this in terms of now individuals who need to talk to somebody directly, because not everything is done in a public forum. You're there for each other. Very important. You see signs and symptoms, you reach out, you make a referral. You could save a life. Thank you very much,
Dr. Semaj.
Yes, sir.
Do you mind sharing your presentation so others can benefit from it?
Oh, no problem. I'll definitely send a copy so that it will be. I taped it. So I'll have my son is my technical manager, so you know, put together a video, nice video of it and so on, so we can make it available.
Awesome. Thank you.
We certainly will. All right, gentlemen. Who is the
VP coming in, VP? I just really wanted to really express my gratitude as well, Doc. Again, for such an inspiring session. Just a joke here. You had a slide that showed 7 high schools for boys. I think you need to change that based on your own utterances. I think it's 6 high school and 1 college, right? But really appreciate this. And I mean, there are so many correlations between just I just can't help but even thinking about just some of the elements shared at times by, you know, one of our well-known anthropologists, Herbert Gale.
Herbert Gale, critical.
So, yeah. And I think the seriousness about it is that the truth of the matter is that when men are together and institutions are also geared towards them, then the results can be as we are seeing now. You hosting this session and Vaughn being the facilitator. And yes, sometimes we can play around the purple blood, but there's a critical ingredient around boys being together and having them in an environment that can facilitate their growth and their development. And I think for us here as men, one of the critical things that we are to do is that, yes, we have heard the scriptures, so Doc has given it to us. And the important thing is that we take note and we apply them. It's no use for us to hear the message and not go out and apply them, so that we can be better first and foremost for ourselves. And those of us who are leaders as well can also help and even curtail some of what's happening within our own institution, the reason why we are here, and in the wider society as well. So I think it is important that, you know, and I think for me, just like George, I have been taking my notes, and certainly, you know, these pointers, and when you send out the presentation as well, I certainly want to take the opportunity to go through myself and extend some of the content to my team members, because we have a responsibility not only for ourselves, but as leaders as well. We have a responsibility, as you rightfully say, to lead those who want to be led. And having received this ingredient, I think we are poised to make our institution a better one. But not only our institution, but those external to us that we are a part of, whether you're in a community, whether you're running with Ricky, or you're going to church with me on a Sunday, or whatever we do in our communities, just to make this land we love, Jamaica, a better place based on what we have learned. So for me, Doc, again, it's really a pleasure. And I hope that we all, you know, can apply something that we hear today and let it be transformational for the rest of our lives. Because just like Doc, when I reached to age 100, I was looking for that last bullet on the slide, Doc. And I realized that you highlighted it, and we all want to be standing tall when we get to that age, both mentally and physically. So really appreciate it. VP?
Thank you very much. Not much else that I can say to that, but I want to encourage. Doc made a reference to a number of things, but one in particular that stood out about the whole thing of being mentors and mentoring to others. And a year and a half, about 2 years ago, I was asked by the British High Commission to sit as a mentor, particularly because there are a lot of single parents out there, and they have male children, and so therefore they needed that help, because what comes out is that there's some things that a woman can't teach a man to do, and that stood out. While they had to go through a 100-page document to sign because there's so many things with it, but it was very inspiring. It's a very good experience, and you've learned so much that what you can contribute to those out there who don't have that kind of experience, and that not having a male figure around them, what you can do. That is like making a big turnaround, certainly by extension, to the economy. And I would encourage a team certainly to do that, where you have that situation, where you can, you know, certainly, because every man that is here on this platform, I know, with the kind of skill set that you have, I haven't had the opportunity to interact with each and every one of you. Absolutely can contribute a lot to the lives of our men in the society. So, you know, having said that, Doc,
there's a saying that, you know, there's a book that has really set a bad tone in our society. So there's Enid Blake's book, My Mother Who Fathered Me. By the way, that was just a catchy title. There's nothing in the book that justifies the title. All right, I can tell you that because I've read the book. I have the book on my shelf. And mothers, with all due respect, mothers can do incredible jobs, but it's called mothering. Mothers can't father. So no matter how, they can do wonderful things, and they all do incredible things, but fathering is something special. And by the way, there's a whole other discourse. If you understand how fathering impacts on girls' development also, just briefly, look, the first person that a girl falls in love with technically is daddy, you know. And if daddy's not there, all kind of other things happen. Just tell you briefly, a girl growing up in a tenement yard with lots of male figures around her, passing all kind of comments and everything on her, she actually menstruates earlier because her body responds to all of those comments from men that she's not related to. So they imagine the first time a conductor touched against her skin, I said, boy, you look nice, you know. Her skin catch a fire because she never had that. There's some powerful rituals in life. You know, gentlemen, when you get married, you know, and then you have that dance with your, you know, your daughter, and then you hand over to her husband, you know, that when I raise questions with women about that, a lot of women, first of all, they don't know their father. So they're not willing to dance with their father. You know, when your daughter can just expose herself socially and her weakness to this man in her life. You know, her development is so enhanced because of that. Oftentimes, when there's a breakup in a family and a father disappears, children, especially girls, blame themselves and figure they are the cause for it. So that that father presence it impacts the boys, but it also impacts the girls incredibly. My daughters, I almost feel sorry for their husbands, because whatever they do, my daughter, who is now a Supreme Court judge in New York, when she became a Supreme Court judge and she was to be sworn in, her daddy had to be there to speak on her behalf. When she became a civil court judge before, her daddy had to be there. Because I mean, her father is a frame of reference that drove her life and so on and all of that. And I telling them, I don't concede that, any husband who come, you have to beat me, boss. You have to take the game to another level, And probably that's one of the reasons why all my daughters, they maintain the name and they just put the attach on the husband name for the side, make him understand that him have to really now compete with daddy has set the program. So gentlemen, we have work to do. And when I said to some men don't understand the pleasure when you put in the work, and when your children, you feel good. Rick, I interact with you so often. I see how you're putting in the work with your children. And lots of men don't know the feeling that come out of that when you put in the work and the grades come out at the other end and the extracurricular activity. There's nothing more rewarding than that. Gentlemen, we have work to do, and we can do it. And as was said before, whoso heareth the word and doeth it not shall get some licks. Amen.
Wonderful. Well done. Amen. And thanks a lot, Andre, One College. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day, everybody.
Till we meet again.
Okay, till we meet again. Thanks
Thank you.
again. Good.
Okay.